one-on-one date, it would be like a shot in the arm that I could use right now.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Zachary Reality. I am your host, Zachary Reality. We're back on my podcast for a brand new episode. We took last week off. It was just like a 1 week hiatus because I put out 15 killer episodes this year, or maybe 13, of iconic interviews with like great guests. So I needed a week to recover. And we are getting the ball re-rolling again with one of my favorite Bachelor contestants of all time. And I don't know if you know how big of a fan I am of you, because I
Ooh.
have been watching Courtney Robertson.
Hey,
Woo!
cutie. Hi, who to who?
Woo! Okay, wait, you've changed your name.
I did. It was a
Okay.
big to do. So I changed my middle name, which was Nicole, to Robertson. Got to keep the Robertson in, but it has been a headache. So now I'm Courtney Robertson Preciado.
So what is your husband Italian?
He is a Latino. He is a
Oh,
half
okay.
Mexican. So
Oh,
he's
okay.
spicy. And
Wow.
so I'm a Latina. I'm
Yeah,
spicy now.
yeah.
I'm extra
You're
spicy.
you're so spicy. And like you've always been so spicy, but you've gotten back into the scene, right? Like you announced a podcast a
Yes.
few months ago off contract, which I feel like you've been off contract for so long. So even though I've always loved you, like for real, like one of the most iconic villains of all time. If you have not seen her season, or if you haven't seen Courtney on TV, like you don't even belong here right now.
You
Like,
can sit with us, or maybe not.
no, oh my God. Literally, when I watched you, I was so young. I was like, not to age you, right? You look
No, age me. That's okay,
I don't
honey.
remember. I was a teenager, like 15, and I just loved Mean Girls on TV, and like in a good way. Like I love just
Yes.
like the sass. So I live for you. You were like my Hannah Montana, like of Bachelor world. Like, does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. And I've had people come up and tell me that. So this is, yeah, that's so nice of you to say. And I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And you were 15. Oh my goodness. You were
Yeah,
like, you go, girl. And that was like kind of a different time though. Like it was
yeah.
a little out of the box in that time for ABC at least.
I know, but you just did it so good. And I want to talk about it a little bit, but I need to know what made you decide to kind of get back into podcasting, back into the scene. Like it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so you know what? I think I'm like with my husband, like he like supports all my little dreams, which is amazing. And I just am in a really great place. I've got two kids, and to me, like I feel like I've recovered from the whole thing, and like I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, like this is a part of me for better, for worse. Like I still get asked about Ben, and I
Yeah.
tell anybody coming off their season, like even like going back to Gabby and Zach, like for the rest of their lives, they are always going to get asked about that. And it's been a running theme in my life. But I had like a unique experience where I was like the villain and I won the
The
show.
biggest
We were
villain of
together
all
for a
time.
year. Yeah. I went, I
One of
went
them.
skinny dipping. I had so much fun. And like
So good.
now I can look back and like be like, I appreciate that. And like I want to, I've made so many great friends from other seasons. And it's just
Mhm.
like a weird, and I know you follow a lot of reality TV, but like there's like an instant connection with people. I went to After the Final Rose. I met Nate Mitchell and it was like this like instant connection. So I'm excited to learn how to podcast a little bit better. I'm working with
Mhm.
Game of Roses. Obviously, they're my producers and
Good.
want to hone a new skill set. And I have two kids. So, like, if I can just work from home and have fun conversations with people, like that energizes my soul. I'm really good at selling real estate, but like, I feel like I can do multiple things at once.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that you love the community. Like you miss the community of
Yes.
it, but you didn't necessarily get to enjoy the community at the time because you were so villainized that now you have like a
Yes.
new perspective on life and like you're like settled into like your marriage and your kids. So
And he
now
supports
you,
me. Like, I can like talk
yeah.
freely. Like, we're in past relationships or like, no, like, we just, like kind of a little bit shut me down in certain dreams that I wanted to do. And he supports me. He was my guest this week. And yeah, that's nice of you to say though, Zach. Zach, or do you like to go by Zachary?
Zachary, yeah, people always have this conversation. It really does matter. But I was
It
gonna say
does.
this feels like it's like your it's like a passion project again, but like now you can like make money off of it and like do something that you'd like. So have you been keeping up with The Bachelor since you left?
Yes, I've watched every season and
Okay.
I was in talks to do Bachelor of Paradise at one point and it just was like and honestly, Zachary, I lost myself for some period of time. And if you've ever been like through, not even been like relationships post the show was really tough to navigate. And like I kind of lost myself. And like I finally feel like with my husband, and he's a huge part of that. Like I feel like I'm back to like my true self, which is like confident, like I'm ready to like let's do this. Let's do it. I would hate to look back and be like I wish I would have tried, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do feel like you're really different than you were on the show. Like clearly, like you just seem more like calm and like zen and like, chill. But like back
That's
on the show,
so
you were so evil. So I'm just
those
kidding.
girls were evil to me.
Did you ever like make up with them after the reunion?
No. Talk about mean girl. And like one girl went on Reality Steve's podcast recently and was like, Courtney hasn't apologized to me. I'm like, girl,
Which
it's been
girl?
like Blakely.
Oh,
And
Blakely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and like I said some things about her wardrobe,
Like
you
back in
know,
the day.
yeah, on the show. And she was like, she called me a stripper. I was like, no, I just was making a joke. I said some snarky things. Like, I'm living with these women. Like, she was bossing production around. Like, there's things I haven't said about her, but like, she came out and was like, she still hasn't apologized to me. I'm like, it's not coming. I, I went on the women tell all and got like blasted by everybody. And I came
Yeah.
there to apologize. Like, that's going to be a long time coming, honey.
Has any of the girls from your season, other than I know you're still friends with Casey, 'cause I saw you just had her on your
Yeah, Casey
podcast.
and Jacqueline, who you would love. She's
Is like
incredible.
sassy Jacqueline, right? She was
Schwartz,
on
yeah, and
Bachelor
she went
Pad. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Bachelor in Paradise, and she's like so fun. So we do annual girls trips. It's like me, my a producer at the time. Her name's Amy Bean, and she's working on like amazing shows right now. Fun one for you to know. She would
Okay.
love you and eat you up.
Okay.
She might go back on The Bachelor at some point, but and then Casey and then Jacqueline. So we'll go and just like have fun, like go to Palm Springs and just like live it up for 2 days. But I'm more so friends, and people always ask me that, like, because of my book title. I'm like, don't take it so literally,
I
people.
know,
Like,
I know.
I didn't come here to make friends. It's like the most common,
Yeah, yeah.
reality phrase. Um, but I'm more so friends with other people from other seasons.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like I always got your sense of humor. Like when I
Oh,
love you were my favorite on the show. I still to this day, when people ask me, like say you're one of my favorites because I
that's
get the
kind.
sarcasm and the sass and I really relate to it a lot. But I was gonna ask, has any of the girls like reacted from or anyone in Bachelor Nation like who was like the most excited to kind of have you back in the mix? Like what were the reactions like?
So, breaking news, Mike Weiss has exited.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds like stage left, I'm sure he's involved in the way that he gets paid. Like he created the show, but I felt really, so when they asked me to come back on the group date with Lotto, it was Bennett. And he's like one of the last producers that was on my season. Incredible guy. He made me do not, I shouldn't say made me, in Panama when I wore the tops and they blacked it out, which was controversial at the time. He
Yeah.
was like producing me in that moment. So he is like an EP now, which executive producer. So Mike Weiss just announced that, and Bennett asked me to come back, and he was like, "Hey, like, can you come host this group date?" And I was like, "Sure." And I didn't know it was Lotto till I got there, and there was Victoria Fuller
Yeah, yeah.
Tahzjuan, and I was like, "Sure, I'll come out of retirement." And I was already starting the podcast, so I was like, "This is
So
a
it was
win-win."
it's a win-win. It kind of ties in.
Yeah, 100%. And then so he was there when we went to the after the final rose, and I mean now he's like the top. So and he's just been nothing but kind, and it's amazing to see it come full circle because I worked with like Alon a lot and
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
season, and everybody that all the producers from my season but him are gone. So that might be boring for the listener. Sorry.
I think some people are really into like the bachelor logistics, like behind the scenes and like how all that kind of stuff works. And I think that most people who like listen to bachelor podcasts want to hear that stuff. So I think this is the niche in the audience for that for sure. How do you think the show is now? Because I think that it's so bad compared to when it started. What did you think of this season overall? Like rate it 1 to 10 compared to
Hmm.
your season.
I'd say a seven.
Oh, that's so generous.
Really, I just
It was so bad. There was
I feel
nothing until
like
the
the whole
end.
Sean Lowe part of it all, honey, was just like so like, I'm not anti Sean Lowe and Catherine, but it was like I felt like they were like trying so hard to like push this narrative, and that wasn't him, and he wasn't true to his self. And I feel
Yeah.
like that was like the thing that made him kind of almost lose himself. Like when you talk about losing yourself and navigating this tough process. But I was at obviously there and I met Gabi and her sister and like it just was like the shower scenes. Like I think that that's going back to like we're gonna show this hot guy. Like it just I think that worked in the you know
In 2010, but it doesn't work
yes
today.
100%. It's like we need that. We almost need the Alans. We need somebody to come in there and be like, let's fix this. Like, how are
Yeah.
we going to make this? And now we have Charity. They're already filming her season. And I think that there is, obviously Mike kind of stepped away and he's got good people in his hands or whatever. But like, how would you, Zachary, think that like how can we get back to like somewhat? And obviously times have changed. Like, how are we going to do it?
We need a whole new show. We need to cancel the show and just rebrand it completely. I think
Right.
that
We need a rebrand.
we need
Okay.
we need a rebrand. We need love in real life. Screw the
Yes.
format,
Right.
have them date in the real worlds
I like
and
that.
see
Well,
what
I loved
happens.
Katie's date where she was like, I'm moving in here. Like, can you unpack this for me?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
cute. Like, okay.
For me, it's just gotten too corny. And I just need to see like more real, more organic, like fights and drama and just like real life and just enough of like the fluff, fluff, fluff. So that's just kind of why I'm like, this was a snooze fest.
A snooze fest is right. I know, you're right. What are we gonna do? Who do I need to phone, friend?
Which girl from this season did you see yourself most in?
Christina Mandrell. She definitely
Yes.
overserved herself. And that's part of it. Like you get a little liquid courage. You're like the days are long. You're not eating like on the day. That happens. I'm not gonna lie. You get a little like pew, 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 like me, like being
Mhm.
like, woo,
Yeah, you did that. That's in your
Yeah, I was like,
montage, which I will
yes,
watch every like 2 to 3 years.
you're so sweet. But like I feel like I loved so I did the group date with Lotto and I loved Kat. Like she gave what was it? Not Boston. What's her name? I'm so bad with names. Gave her the
Brooklyn.
business. Brooklyn.
Yeah,
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 Brooklyn.
yeah.
She gave her the business. Like I'm done with this conversation. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I loved it. And everyone's like, well, she should have done this and she should have. I'm like, no, like she handled it to me like a boss. Like, I'm shutting this down. Like, I loved her style. I definitely am gonna try to get her on the podcast. Like, and she was so pretty and like her outfits. Like, part of it for me is like watching these outfits and I love to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
how
yeah.
people present themselves. And
Hmm.
so I liked her. I really felt for Gabby, and I heard that she was the one that was spoiled to read How to
The
Win the
Game of Roses
Bachelor.
book.
Yes, and I think she did, and like from start to finish, like she was funny though. Like she was like kind of like what the like she was
Uh-huh.
a little bit off the cuff. Like I was actually surprised that they showed so much of what she was truly feeling in those moments. But like I don't know how you
Hmm.
feel. Did you like her? I mean, I'm like justice for Gabby. Like
Yeah,
she
yeah.
should be the next Bachelorette, 100%.
So I think that I listened to her on Clickbait today because I needed to hear
Same.
like her side of things. And it didn't seem like she was that big of a fan of the show. Like it seemed like her sister was a big fan of the show. So I almost think that her sister bought the book and gave it to her and told her like, "Hey, you should read this. It'll help you." Like I don't think it was like a malicious thing.
Right. No, I don't. Oh, not at all. I mean, she maybe she wasn't, and maybe that's why she was just so. The producers love that. They love people that are just kind of like we don't know what
What
we
we're
got
doing.
ourselves
Otherwise, they get
into.
outsmarted.
Yes.
If you know too much about the show, you get outsmarted. So I feel like they like to cast people who like they just try and find people who just don't know enough about it. But of course, a few super fans sneak in there every year,
Oh
and that
yeah.
always shows. Not that it really matters. I
But
liked
let's be honest.
Gabby.
I feel like there's so many super fans at this point. Like how like unless you're living under a rock. Like
Yeah. But then let's just like stop pretending. There's just so much that so much of the fourth wall needs to be broken. Like that's the problem. So even with like The Bachelor, Zach, like I also just wasn't really a big fan.
so I met him and I wasn't either. I was like, so every season, I'm like, are we going to really invest 2 hours every night? Like, you know how my day was. We were trying to schedule our podcast and
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
the kids. Like, I want to watch Perfect Match. I can't wait till tomorrow. I'm devouring Perfect Match. Are you watching that?
I finished that and I already interviewed like four of them. Like that ended like last month.
No, I'm sorry. The new, I'm sorry.
Love
Love
is
is Blind.
Blind.
That's how bad I am. Love is Blind. So the next season cycle comes out tomorrow. I cannot wait.
Wait, how many episodes are going to come out tomorrow?
Like six.
Why are they doing so much at once?
I know. So, but they
You
only
like
like
it. You
I
like
love
it.
it.
Okay,
I'm loving it.
I'm exhausted right now. I'm in like a period
Oh,
of pure exhaustion. It's been
right.
lasting like 2 weeks. I feel like I need like another week so far, but I am like sleeping late. Like I'm not on my game. I'm not watching as much TV. I'm like half-assing my job
Good. Oh,
because
good for you. Sometimes
I'm
you need to like refill your cup.
yeah. So the fact that there's new episodes dropping, I'm like, oh, I haven't even finished the last ones because I don't have the energy.
It's so good. And like
No,
and
it's
that's
good.
like I perv out on that stuff. Like I'm like, but like going back to
Hmm.
The Bachelor, it's like there's so many other shows that
TV's
are
fun.
it's I love it. Honestly. Like I'm like when the kids are napping, I'm watching. I'm like but so anyway, going back to Zach's season, I was like, should we watch? And then they invited me on. And so I met him in person, and I will say it was the night after they filmed the first night.
Hmm.
And he is like, I filmed all night. He was so tired, but he was fun. And like I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. And they're like, we're just gonna bring you over there to meet him before we start recording. And we like hung out with him for like an hour.
I'm sure he's
And
cool, like off camera.
yes,
Like I think I'm sure he's great as a person. I'm just saying, like as the Bachelor, I didn't like feel like he had a good personality to like be on TV.
I think that he was like a little bit puppety. Like he was just like they were like jump and he's like how high, you know? Like
Gotcha.
and I don't think that like he and going back to the Sean Lowe thing, like I feel like I think he navigated it well. Like I loved how quickly he got rid of people. Like I think it was
I
because he
hated
knew who he was
that.
gonna
I need,
pick.
but then the drama was gone.
True, you're right though. That and we need that like build up.
The best part, the best seasons of The Bachelor are the ones where there is like girl drama that is the buildup, like you said, like you versus Emily, for example. Like it was so much buildup all the way until like the top six or you versus everyone that it just made the season so much better. And I
Well,
think
my
that's what
bachelor
misses
told me
it.
like, and for the fans who listen, like he couldn't at that stage in the game of recording, he couldn't get rid of her. They wouldn't let him.
They wouldn't let Ben get rid of you,
They
or they
wouldn't let
wouldn't.
him get of Emily.
Oh, because they knew you guys were fighting.
Yes. I
See,
mean,
that's
that's
part of the
like,
show. They say it's not about the Bachelor and it's about the women. So then let it be about the women, and that's why Real Housewives do so well because people just love the dynamics between women on TV, and especially with Zach being less charismatic than the normal Bachelor, like he didn't have the big personality. So it's just like that's what was lacking in the season. But it definitely got juicy, I think, at Fantasy Suites, the way that all went down. But then Zach
oh,
just became
that
a
was
bigger
juicy
jerk
AF.
than Clayton.
I was here for it. I was like, just why did you even do the whole thing? Like, oh my God. Like, so my
He shouldn't have
bachelor,
said it. He
I
shouldn't
was
have
the
said it.
last fantasy suite on my season. There was three
Okay.
girls left, and heard through the grapevine later that it went down with all the women. I
He did
mean,
it with all of them. Who was the final three?
it was Nikki Sterling who just
Nikki,
disappeared into thin air. He probably should
Tasha.
have picked her. I
No, he
think that
had to pick you.
I mean,
Lindsay.
and then Lindsay Cox, and then I was the last one. So like I've been through the
Mhm.
fantasy suite thing, and I didn't like bring it up. Like that was a different time. Like it was very much like what Katie said. Like I knew what I signed up for. Like
Yeah.
having lived it, and then like see this play out. I'm like, oh my God. Like I would have probably been like her. Like I don't want to know. I never wanted to know. I never asked. He never
Yeah.
told. But I kind of heard through like just the grapevine that like that happened, and I was like,
Um,
whatever. I was living my best life before I left for the
uh-huh.
show. I was like, let's
Yeah.
just, I'm gonna get engaged. I'm like, let's just go hang out with,
Uh-huh.
all
So
the
wait, so
people.
what was modeling like when you were doing it in your 20s? Do you ever still do modeling? Were you like a world, like were you traveling around the country, the world, like just modeling?
It was so great. I look back and they were some of my golden years. So that little backstory, I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch. They scouted me, and then
Hmm.
I was a senior in high school. I was studying to be a graphic designer for like a 2-year program. High school in Arizona only had, but anyway, long story short. So I'm like working in the store to like pay off a speeding ticket, and they like were like, come film in the British. We did a photo shoot in the British Virgin Islands in Tortola, and then I came back and it was my spring break. They're like, Bruce Weber saw your pictures. It was like for the in-store stuff. And they're like, they wants you to come do the back to school catalog. By the way, Bruce Weber, have you watched the Netflix special
Which one?
about Abercrombie and Fitch?
No, I haven't.
You have to watch it because then
Okay.
this will register. So he was very controversial. He's like they told me he's like the Picasso of photographers. Anyway,
Hmm.
so he shoots Ralph Lauren. He's a big deal. Like so in the modeling world, if you work with a photographer that's that big, it it kind of translates into other big jobs. And it did for me for sure. But long story short, I mean, I went from making 5.25 an hour to $1,250 a day. And I was
That's
like,
amazing. You were doing photo shoots and like video shoots, like runway.
so I didn't do runway. I was never good at it. I met Yoko Ono. I did try to do runway. So I did that senior year, went to 1 year of college, moved to LA when I was 19, going on 20, and
Mhm.
then signed up with a good modeling agency. And I did an Old Navy commercial. Like I just like threw myself into it. And it was
Gotcha.
so fun. I was living on Hollywood Boulevard. I could walk to the clubs and they want the models to be there. So I was hanging out with Spencer Pratt, Brody Jenner. I was like literally living in Hollywood like during like this early inception of that. So they would have the modeling agencies like send models to the clubs. Like Justin Timberlake was sitting at the next table over. It was a very wild time. But I was also working. So
So how long did you live in LA?
14 years.
And you spent like your 20s there?
I did all my 20s. I moved back when I was 35.
So you grew
35.
up in what part of Arizona?
In Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
And my parents just sold their house. My mom passed away 3 years ago. It was very heavy, very sad.
Mhm.
If you ever, anybody listening, if you lose a parent, it's a very deep cut. So
I'm
just to
sure.
touch on that, and the show was very hard for her. Um, she didn't want me to do it. She didn't think Ben was a good fit for me. She was very vocal about that. She was like,
Was she vocal like during hometowns or just like right after?
at hometowns after when the press called, like I
Oh,
had dated
everything.
like Jesse Metcalf and like
Yeah,
went out with
yeah.
Adrienne Grenier and like these
Hmm.
celebrities, and like those are the ones that I talked about in my books, but like there were other people like in this like 14-year period that I lived in
Hmm.
LA that like were pretty great to me, and she met them, like, you know, like they were relationships. So
Yeah.
my Hollywood time was amazing. I had a blast. Modeling was fun. My probably my best job was the Clarisonic campaign, and I mean,
Cool.
people will call me like a C-list model, but like I was supporting myself. I mean, you know how it is to live in LA. It's
Hmm.
expensive. My rent when I went to do the show was $1,900. Like,
Mine's 1800.
ugh, Zachary.
I'm on Hollywood Boulevard too, but it's the place you want to be. Like it's a really fun area. There's a lot going on,
A lot of
and
creativity.
it's fun to go to Arizona when you want to travel or like, go to Palm Springs. Like I'm always trying to get out of LA, but I really love it's popping, at least
Well,
for
what
now.
you can do it anywhere. I mean, but it's so fun to go to like those red carpet things and those
Yeah,
last
you
minute
can't do
invites.
all that kind of stuff if you're not in LA. Like there's more opportunities here, I guess, if you're in the entertainment industry. But you can do like the social media stuff anywhere.
But you have the energy to do it now. Like I'm
Do
out of
I?
it. Like you
I'm so
didn't.
tired.
I'm tired too. It's like, and that's, I do think you can do it from anywhere, and you can fly from, you know, anywhere, and just like we just
Hmm.
went it after the final rose, but we're exhausted. I'm still recovering. I just put on my sparkly top for you. Like,
So what was it like after the final rose? What was the energy? Like who was in the audience? Was anything not shown? What was the vibe?
so obviously I signed an NTA, that, you know, but I met Gabby's sister. She was sitting near us, and it was like a fun night for my husband and I. Like it was weird for him. He's never seen me like in a Bachelor fan setting, to walk in and people are like, Courtney, and he's like,
Oh, I
wait,
love that.
what? Like, because I'm so far removed, and he's
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, hey, we're gonna go to the bathroom. Will you come with me? Like, I don't want anybody to like corner me or like, you know, try to do anything
You're
weird.
Beyonce there.
Yeah, it was, I felt that way a
Hmm.
little bit. And
That.
so it was very like a roller coaster. Like I met Nate Mitchell. What
Hmm.
a doll. He's so cute. He flew in to show support for Zach. And then Catherine and Sean were there, and they were like, Bachelor royalty. And I'm like,
I know. It's
and
so cheesy.
I've met them a handful of times. They're very nice, but like their world versus my world, like I'm very not conservative, and like they're the kind of people
Okay.
that like when I'm around them I feel a little bit like, ooh, like I'm gonna
Oh,
burst
really?
into flames, you know what I mean? Like
Gotcha. I mean, they seem really nice. Sean seems really funny. They seem nice, but I'm sure that, you
I
can't
just, I'm
really.
like, I'm the girl that went skinny dipping and you were like the born again
Yeah.
virgin. So like in that, for me, it's like, ooh, I just was like, hey, like kind of like we were sitting in different sections. I was
Gotcha.
like, what's up? But you know, so they whisk Gabby off, and then it's like everyone's like hearts and like Gabi, Gabi, and then they like whisker. I was like, I hope she left the building because it switched so quick and it was like engaged, like wah, and like the
Yeah.
audience was going crazy, and that's part of it, right? They're like
Mhm.
clap and like there's that like kind of thing, but I felt badly for Gabi because she before they even started recording her segment, she was out there and she was just like sobbing. And I've been in that situation with
Yeah.
like my after the final rose with Ben. Like I didn't know where we were at. Like it was like very touch and go. And like you're in this like fishbowl of like, how am I going to navigate this? This is live television. It wasn't during my season. And she was visibly upset, very upset. So,
Mm.
you know, and I'm a little bit of an empath. So I pick up on energy of
Yeah.
all the people around me. And like,
Mhm.
so everybody's cheering for her. And there's like this, you know, the producers are hyping her up and then they whisk Gabi off and then I'm like, get her out of the building. And like her sister's sitting in front of me and she's like they're like clap and like for the engagement. And I'm like, how hard is that for her to have to do that?
I think she could have been the Bachelorette, but do you think maybe because there was like a filming thing, like you know how they started filming Charity season like already? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you think they almost picked Charity because maybe they didn't want to like pick somebody else, and then we would have found out who the Bachelorette was, and that would have spoiled it,
I personally think that they can still make Gabi the Bachelorette. I
like
do.
in a
I,
year?
I think that she needed time. Um,
Okay,
I think that they need the diversity,
yeah,
if I'm being completely frank with you.
I know, I completely agree, but I also do
She's
think
very
Ariel would have
beautiful.
been really good too.
I love Ariel. I would love to see her. And I don't know if I see her in Paradise. Like she's like intimidatingly smart.
She's gonna go to Paradise.
You think?
Let's pick
You
like our
think?
top. Yeah. Okay. So name like five girls that you think are should go to Paradise or gonna go to Paradise.
Christina Mandrell, by the way, going back to my favorites, she was one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Um, right, really? She was fun. Like
Yeah, I
I
like
felt
all
like
the
that was like the
villains. Every
OG.
season, the villain is my favorite. If there's
You're
one
like,
thing you need to know about me, I love the villains.
ah, villain, chilling like a villain. Christina
Chilling.
Mandrell, and then I would say not Gabi. Christina Mandrell,
You don't
maybe
think Gabby
Kat.
will go?
No, mm-mm.
She should go.
She's top tier. I think that she's probably already has all the guys sliding into the DMs. That happens. People like, I'm gonna put you first.
She
You know,
needs to be there. Are you kidding? We need to
I
see her
don't.
there.
Yeah, I would love to see her there. She's so fun. Give her a couple cocktails. I loved her
She
with the
has like
mimosas
6
on the beach.
months.
She's like so fun. Give her a couple mimosas. And
Oh,
she's like,
like maybe 2 months, I guess, because they'll start filming maybe in June,
yeah.
maybe July. So she has a couple months. She'll be fine. Let's put her there, Christina, Ariel,
Ariel,
Pat,
Kat.
and Brianna. But why wasn't she at the Women Tell All?
I don't get it. I don't unless they probably have bigger plans for her.
What other plans?
I know. What are the plans? We
Like,
need inquiring minds need to know.
but if she's gonna go to Paradise, wouldn't they want her there so that we can see her again and see her
Who I
vibe?
feel like we're missing somebody like very key here. Who is it? Somebody big.
Like Brooklyn,
Brooklyn.
Kat.
Brooklyn. Because Brooklyn
Yeah,
and
she'll
Kat
be
had the
there.
drama, so they need that there.
So, okay, Zach and Kaity, they're engaged. Do you think they're going to last from your expertise
I do.
forever?
For me, yeah, I do. I
Or
think that
maybe
they're
like
gonna
10
last.
months?
I mean, I'm like,
You
no, I
think
do.
forever?
Like he's giving me like Ari Lyondike vibes, who I know,
Hmm.
and you know, him and Lauren have kids now, and I think that they'll light it up and they'll have kids, and then that will be it. You know, I mean, if anything, it would be like an Ashley Rosenbaum thing.
Where it
You
like
know,
divorces in 10 years and like everyone
exactly.
forgets.
Exactly. I could see that maybe being a thing, but like he seems so smitten with her. Like I will do
Really?
anything to make it work. And
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I do. And I
Okay.
feel like he really wanted the process to work for him. What do you think? Tell me your opinion.
I think they have a chance for sure. I just don't really feel like I'm super invested.
I think what they'll do in their social media will make a big difference. Like
Do you
look
think
at
they'll
Susie
do
and
social
Clayton.
media?
Yes, I think they have to. And I think that
Okay.
that's like the era of the game. And like going back to Camera Rose is like, look at Clayton and Susie. Like they had this like crazy ending and then like America fell in love with them after. And that was very much so
Mhm.
like with Ben and I. Like we got to show people like through Twitter or whatever. And it like flipped. They wanted to like see photos of us just like living our normal life.
Yeah.
They're going to move in together. I think that they'll know
In the
within a
summer.
year. They'll know within a year. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Have you ever lived with somebody? It's
No, I never have. And
what?
I have been living alone for 3 years. I've
Yeah,
had
but like
roommates.
that's even hard. Like stop eating my food.
Did you live alone when you lived in LA?
I did. So I had a 2 bedroom apartment, and when I went to do the show, and I rented my room out because I was like, I need to subsidize this rent. And I had
Hmm.
a model friend move in, and she's incredible. But I was, in Santa Monica. I couldn't do the roommate thing. If you want
Yeah,
to
don't
shack
eat my
up,
food.
if you want to shack up, if you want to
Hmm.
like, wake up and have your mornings, and like I feel like LA slow rolls it a little bit. Like we were just staying at the Garland Hotel in
Hmm.
Burbank, North Hollywood, and we went to breakfast in the morning. And we're like, what is everybody doing here? Having like mimosas like at 11 o'clock? Like it's a little slower pace.
Hmm. Well, I wish Zach and Katie the best. Like, honestly, like I'm rooting for them because why would I root against love?
Right.
So it's like, of course, I'm happy for them. I just have no idea what the future holds. And I mean, that's the season. That's it. It'll be nice to have a little bit of a break until
Yeah.
charities, June 26th. So what is your plans for your podcast off contract? Are you going to be interviewing Bachelor stars, other reality TV? What's kind of like the vibe and the goal?
So I've reached out to everybody. I've got some pretty big names in Bachelor franchise. I've got some big celebrities that are Bachelor fans that are going to
Ooh.
come
Can you
on.
tease any?
Justin Long.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, he's a big Bachelor fan. Jim Jeffries,
Hmm.
just people like that to basically break down episodes and like just bring fun to it.
What are you
And
going to do
who
in the
else?
off season? But like before the show starts.
I think I'm gonna have an off season. So I mean, I'm still
Oh,
figuring it
okay.
out. Obviously, I've only had one season. I'm like doing one more episode, and then I'm gonna have an off season. I
Oh,
might
you're
do a
gonna take a break.
Patreon. I might do a
Ooh,
Patreon. Do you
okay.
do a Patreon?
No, because
I
I
think
feel
you
like
should.
podcasting is so much work. Like I don't want to
It's like a
put more.
full-time
Yeah,
job.
I don't know if I like want to put all my energy into that. Like I can do one a week. I was doing it two a week for a little bit because I was getting really good guests, like and it was like really timely.
You had
Um,
amazing guests.
yeah, I've had a lot of great guests recently, and I want to do it in person. So for me, I'm like, I need to figure that out.
What does that look like for you?
You have to either rent a studio, which I've done a few times, which you can put a few $100 out for to get like the quality, or I would have to find like some type of producer or like network that wants to like help me with everything
I
because it's
think
just
you need
timely.
that. Like you're the talent. What do
No,
you do
I
for
honestly,
fun? What does like a
I
day in the life look like for you?
okay.
I think the listeners would love to hear it.
Put me in the spot. Well, I am planning my trip to Coachella with my friends, so I'm really excited about that. That's something I'm doing
Outfit
for
out.
fun.
What are you gonna wear?
I'm sure I'll pick it out the week before, like 2 days before. I'm very last minute.
I like that about you. I would have loved your help for after the final rose. Couldn't
I
decide what to wear.
I would have helped you. I
Thank you.
love to go on adventures. I
Hmm.
love to go to the bar, hang out with friends,
What's your
lay
drink
on
of
my
choice?
phone. I like to switch it up. I don't like to do the same things.
Okay, you're kinky.
And
I
I'm like
like
that with
it.
exactly. And I'm like that with the bar. I'm like that with what I do on the weekends and for activities. I'm
Somebody
just
needs to keep up with you.
very spontaneous. If I did that last week, I'm doing something else next week.
That is so fun.
So that's a fun fact about me.
So you're the fun friend.
I'm the fun friend. I'm the sassy friend.
How hard is that though? Like you probably get so many invites and you're like, "Ah, I need time
I
to recharge and watch my
I
shows, but like
know.
also like I have all the invites.
I get invited places, but then there's times where I'm not invited and I have to be like, oh, no one invited me tonight, you know? So it's like you get both.
Yeah, the FOMO.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have like responsibilities. Like I just have to take care of myself. Like
Yeah.
we're in two very different stages of life. Like I don't have kids. I don't have a pet. I wouldn't get a pet because that's something to take care of. I don't have a
No,
boyfriend.
don't get a pet.
I'm just like kind of like a lone wolf with a lot of friends.
Do you have a friends with Benny or anybody that's excited?
Nothing.
Anybody you're excited about?
No, I'm not dating at all. I don't date at all.
Why? Because you're just like so focused on work, which is super
Well, I'm
attractive to me, by the way. Like,
I think I just like haven't met anyone. Like no one's pursuing me. Like no one has slid into my DMs in a flirty way in unless I'm completely ignoring it or not seeing it in like years. Swear to
it's
God.
because you're so confident. They probably think so many people are. I'm telling you this. Like they're like intimidated.
What I don't even think I'm that intimidating though.
I mean, you have kind of like a cool thing that you're doing, and you're like in the Hollywood mix, and like you're interviewing all these people. They're probably like, he's so busy. Like, they're like, yes, that's crazy to me. That or you don't know where your hidden DMs are because
No, I check.
I check too. I get most of the trolls go into the, it's like one,
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
three.
See, I
They
don't
go
even
in.
get trolls because they're so intimidating. Like, swear to God, people used to comment like a few nasty things and I shut it up real quick and then that's it. So I don't really get trolls.
I need you in my life.
You have to set the tone. It's your page.
Yes.
Like
I
people
think
know I don't come like if I'm live and someone says something, I just block them. I'm like, you don't come to my live and talk shit. Like it doesn't work like that. Like if you want to be a hater, then you have to be a silent hater. Just
that is wild to me. You are gonna like, and it's also what you're attracting. Like maybe you're not, wanting a boyfriend or whatever. But like,
I don't
I
know.
mean, I feel like they would be like sliding all up in the DMs, and then you'd have the other issue of like having to sift through them. I have a lot of single friends in LA who are like, this is hard. I'm on Bumble. I'm on Raya. I'm on this, and like, and you're so busy with your work and being an entrepreneur. Like, how do you have the time to sift through that?
Why would I go on the apps when I'm already on my phone enough? So,
Yeah.
how else are you? Like, life is good. You're married. How old are the kids?
We're so happy. Like my husband's putting the kids down. I did the whole day today, so I'm
Hmm.
can't wait.
How
Like
old are they?
they are 2.5 and 16 months. So
And where are you in Arizona?
we are in Central Phoenix, so we're like close to downtown Phoenix, which
Okay.
is cool because we go to like our date nights are like going to comedy shows, going to concerts, and so very central to everything, like close to
Hmm.
Scottsdale. I grew up in Arizona. I do miss Santa Monica. I do miss the glitz and the glamour. So that was nice to go
Hmm.
back and we take little 24-hour trips and go up to Malibu. I'm selling real estate full time.
Okay.
Um, but I'm really excited about the podcast. I am. I'm excited to see where it goes, and it's definitely work though, as you know.
Hmm.
It's a full-time gig. So, but really just trying to my the thing I'm working on right now is being more present. And you were talking about not being on your phone.
Yeah.
Like I wake up and my morning ritual is like just splash cold water on my face, but like I'm trying not to reach for my phone as much
Uh-huh.
because when you're taking care of kids during the day, it's like you get them situated and it's like this thing, and I'm just like kind of discovering that right now. I don't have it figured out, but like I don't want to be glued to my phone. So that's what I'm personally working on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming on. It's been such a fun chat. I'm so happy to meet you. Everybody can
you
go check
too.
out Courtney on her new podcast, Off Contract. Go check out old episodes. She has new episodes coming soon. Follow her on Instagram. I will leave her links down below. And thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. Check me out at Zachary Reality on all social platforms. Subscribe, rate this podcast 5 stars. And we will see you guys in the next one.
I'll give you 5 stars.